Hello, it is Friday the 30th of August. It's the last trading day of the month, but sometimes that's not a very good, it's not a very happy trading day, let's put it that way. Second to last day of the month tends to be a pretty nice bullish day. We certainly held up in crypto yesterday. We've had a big options expiration on the open today. I think the volume at Deribit, it's like 5 or 6 times what it normally is. It was certainly much bigger in ETH this Friday than it was last week because they have monthly options. And what you tend to see when you go into a monthly options expiration like that is the price pinned sideways. And so if the price gets stuck there, pretty much nothing happens until you get through that expiration. Sometimes though, because if there's a huge volume and the price starts moving, you can see some quite volatile moves heading into expiration, because remember the option sellers and the market makers are balanced, they're in profit. If the market starts to move, they have to chase it as well to protect their profits. So that we got through that, nothing exciting there today. We have got through the US inflation data without any drama. In Bitcoin, it came in as expected. Personal income came in a little bit higher. Pretty much no surprises for month-end data then. As I said before, I think the Fed are pretty much happy with inflation coming down, and the focus at the moment is really all on jobs data for whether we're going to get a bigger or smaller rate cut next month. So let's talk about Bitcoin stuck in the range. This is a daily chart. This is the sideways range that we have been in since the beginning of March and this year, to the lows that we made on the 5th of August. Pretty much every market made a pretty nice move, bottom on the 5th of August. Key question is this the bottom going to hold, or are we going to have to come back and, typical crypto, retest it? We tend to do that in crypto quite a lot at highs and lows. And we tend to do those false break moves. So here at this high here, we made a high, we made a marginal couple of ticks higher high, and then reversed. Here we made a low, came back and retested it, couldn't close underneath it, lower low. That's a very typical crypto pattern you see on lower and higher time frames as well. But if we draw where we are from the middle of this range, from this high to this low, here we are sideways in the middle. Just that 61,500 level is the key pivot really for me. So I think we're going to have another go at this 50% level in the middle. It wouldn't surprise me at all. We've had one swing off the bottom. It wouldn't be a surprise at all if we have another go at this 61,500. And really what happens there, we'll say next. Are we going to go lower, or are we going to go higher? Because if we expand the fib levels here, in Bitcoin, we are sideways between a 61.8, 38.2 range, trying to decide which day next as we head into a holiday weekend. And I'm not sure, certainly in North America, people will be taking big positions or swing positions into this weekend and month end. The biggest excitement later today will come with the dollar fix, which is at 4 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. New York time. That sometimes can move currency markets. But otherwise, I think things are all very quiet. And we're talking about price pinned going into this option expiration. You can see that on Tuesday we had this really nasty drop. And then the last couple of days we've been in this really tight sideways range, holding underneath that round number 60,000. If we get back above 60,000, I think we are likely to head back to that 61,400, 500 middle of the range. And then look, bunched up flat moving averages in the middle. Not sure which way we're going next. So for me, the range I kind of want Bitcoin to stay in, for me not to panic over the weekend or think that there's a move happening without me, is between 58,600 and these highs at 64,000. Because if we break and hold above this 61.8 previous swing high, from last weekend, I think that we are likely to be on our way to the top of the range and potentially another swing and a set for a breakout. But otherwise, I think through this holiday weekend, this is likely to define the range that we are going to trade in. So what am I going to do? I think I'm going to put price alarms on these two here and see what happens. I'm willing to buy some if we break out and hold above it. I'm holding some at the moment. I might reconsider, if we got stuck underneath here, I might sell some and lighten up and wait for a retest of the lows. But that's really how I'm sitting at the moment. I don't think that Bitcoin is a really good short yet whilst we're going in this choppy sideways range. And in ETH, I think we're seeing very similar things going on. If we go to the weekly and we measure from the low in June to this high, again, we bounced from a 61.8 retrace. We're in the middle of this sideways range. We're just sitting above this 50% level here in the middle. For me, this is pretty key support for ETH. I think we're likely to come back down and retest that 2,100 level if this doesn't hold. But just like Bitcoin, I think more likely, we've had one bounce and this is a correct, and we're likely to see another swing higher. 28.64 is, for me, the highs of this sideways range. And look at these lows that we made in April, in May, and here in July. So that is likely to be resistance first time back, as well as fib pattern resistance as well for ETH. So I think the sideways chop continues. I see people on Twitter, like Bitcoin's dropped, a couple of thousand, and we've been in this really tough sideways range. And people are swinging from really kind of bullish, really kind of bearish, and it's still summer in the Northern Hemisphere. It's still choppy. And I really do think we're going to get better trends and better trade ideas in September. And whilst these big boys are not really going anywhere, neither is the bigger, broader market. There are a few coins that are moving, and we'll take a look at them and see if there's anything interesting. So I think the best performer on a weekly is Immutable IMX. So I took a look at this, and when I look at this on a weekly, a lot of people, I remember when everyone was talking about this being a head and shoulders pattern and this weekly 50 moving average being really key support. If we broke it, we were going all the way back to the lows and to hell and everything else. We did break it. When head and shoulders pattern fail to meet their target, it's usually because you've got a measured move or a three-wave ABC, XYZ kind of pattern going on. So if we measure that here, I suppose we are kind of sideways at this 61.8, but for me it's not a textbook measured move setup. So I would be very interested if we did bottom here and got back above this 1.7 in IMX, but otherwise it's not really compelling. If I measure for the fibs from the lows here, just want to see, have we, so we've reversed very nicely from this 786 fib. So if we apply those same rules, back above this 61.8, holding above 1.7, would say, yeah, we have made a bottom. So for now, yes, we've had a really nice bounce in this coin this week. What I like about this, because as you know, I like moving averages and I like daily moving averages and selling on bounces back into them, buying and pullbacks to them. So a nice little three-wave correction that holds these moving averages here, I think would be maybe a counter trend long, and the target would be back to this previous swing highs and lows and this 1.7 level, and then we'll see if we can get above it. So, and there are quite a few coins when you look around that are doing the same thing. They're above those daily moving averages, and I'm looking at them to see maybe if we can keep going in them. So let's take a look at a few more. Like this is Aptos. Bounced very nicely back to these weekly 20 moving average, previous swing high. Very nice bullish candle. And so far we've only pulled back halfway of this green candle. So looking like it's setting up. And when I look at this daily, it's done the same thing for the first time. Gotten very nicely above these daily moving averages. Are we going to find support here and have another swing higher or another go at the highs? It's not ready to go yet, but it is one that I kind of watch and see. I feel like this might actually pull back a little bit further. I don't think it's quite done yet. But all of these that are trading above these daily 20 and 50 moving averages, if they can make a higher low and start turning next week, then I think that they will be quite interesting trades. There's a few of them about as well. Let's take Tau, the one I was watching, of course, didn't hold the daily moving averages. We failed at this previous swing high and made a nasty three-wave move. So not really kind of the bullish reversal I was looking in that one, which is a shame because that can be quite a fun ride. If CRV here, this is, you know, if you think that a downtrend is lower highs and lower lows, right, as soon as you take out this previous swing high here, you go beyond it, you're looking for a pullback and a higher low to say that the trend has changed. And that kind of is right where we are here in CRV. So key question is CRV going to find support from this daily 50 moving average, make a higher low and turn up for another swing? Because that would be pretty interesting trade. I mean, big picture, is this a chart you want to jump in on? Not really, you know, unless I actually see this with this bullish cross of these daily moving averages. You know, I'm going to have quite modest targets. These previous lows here in CRV would be the first place that I would be looking for, and if all we can do is get up to there or the daily 200 moving average, I think that is likely to be it. So when I look at what's bounced this week or what's doing well at the moment, and I look at the top 10, like, it's quite depressing, you know, Litecoin and really some old school stuff, you know, that you kind of not really feeling it, I have to say. Not really feeling it at all. Gala or Gala, this is the best performer the last 24 hours. Is this again potentially, now this is a slightly higher low here, and this is clearly in this sideways range here around 0.1 is potentially an interesting place to bottom. If we make a higher low here and turn higher, it's possible that this is a first swing, this is a correction, and we could see quite a decent move higher here, and that would be quite interesting in terms of risk reward, because if I measure from this low to high, if we do get back above these moving averages or this swing high, my first target here would be 0.059, and if we're at, you know, 0.02 at the moment, that's 3 times, you know, that's a three times your money. So that's not a bad trade, or even back to these highs. And so this one potentially as a counter trend is more interesting. Here we are, haven't made it though, we haven't taken out the swing high, we have had a nice bounce, we have pulled back to these moving averages. For me, we could be setting up a turn in Gala. Now, if that's where we're going to go, let's measure it exactly. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my fib retrace level from this high to this low, and I'm going to look where that 236 fib is, because that really has to be the first target. And then this 61 point, if we get above it, then that would be my second target. So 0.03 if we hold these moving averages and turn for another swing higher. So I'm kind of watching this on the 4 hours. Looks, yeah. So maybe there are worse charts out there, but really I think if you do, you know, I think it's better maybe to have a little time out, let the month end nonsense, sideways nonsense get out of the way, and better trends are to come in these crypto. In terms of news, obviously there's nothing right on the news at the moment. I think the news that the lawsuit against Elon Musk was dismissed for manipulating the price of Doge. I was really shocked that Doge didn't move more. And when I look at Doge here, let's take a look at the weekly on this one and where we are. You know, it used to be a headline that before would have moved Doge hugely. Now, this is kind of in terms of weekly candlesticks, potentially. We have got a very nice kind of swing failure pattern low here, but we're stuck under these moving averages. That's a lot of headroom that's a lot of resistance overhead that we have to get above to make progress to higher. If we take a look at where we are in Doge, from the high to the low, this first 236 fib and the weekly 50 have been the problem. 0.115, that's really kind of what Doge needs to get above. I'd be more interested, I think I'm looking for a nice base here. If we do turn higher from here, 0.115, just watch and make sure that we do get above that. If we can, then 0.138 and then 50% and so on, and potentially we have this would make this a potentially a nice corrective swing and a bigger move higher. If we can keep going, we should double, because we should get to 0.21, which were the highs in March, and that would be the first target. But for now, still in the summer doldrums, I'm afraid, not really happening.